Okay, I rehearsed the first time. This map does not represent the board, the battle I'm fighting, the game I'm playing online. But the guy did a J1, and I thought I'd use it as an opportunity to give an explanation of my J1 attack strategy. So what do we got? He did not do a pearl, so no pearl. He did a Philippines and Borneo, which I myself prefer. The faster you get these money islands, the better. He bought 3 transports, and he penetrated China into Johor and Anhui and Yunnan. China was able to fight back for Yunnan, and he doesn't have many troops in this area. He has 2 here in FIC. But it looks to me like he's not going to fight the Battle of Yunnan for another turn, I would think. I did, with the English, I have a ring right here, or a crescent, I guess, of troops. 2 infantry and an Aussie fighter, 3 infantry, 7 infantry, and an anti-aircraft, and I bought 4 mechs. My ships all moved. He was able to kill my battleship. My ships all moved over here. I did a bombardment into Ethiopia, captured Persia, and my shipyard transport grabbed 2 guys, already in infantry, moved down and attacked Ethiopia with strength. Took the attack bomber from this fleet, attacked into Ethiopia, took this fighter as well, and the mech from Egypt into Ethiopia. Took it with strength, no problem. So, yeah, that was a great battle. And I have the great thing about taking his strength is I have lots of troops left. The transport's right here. If he happened to get lucky, things didn't go well, and he took Egypt, I would have a transport here, ready to load up with troops and attack back. I would also have 2 fighters that flew into Somaliland, and I would have the mech that moved into here to all fight back there. I also moved the tank here over to Transjordan, and moved the troops that are here, except for 3, 1 Aussie and 2 infantry, and I left them here. But the rest I put in the Transjordan so that I can take Iraq. So that will put England up 4. As well as this, I attacked 96 with this fleet. So the great thing about that is, the better thing about that is that the English, if the English move the aircraft carrier up to 93 to support the French fleet, the problem is order of loss. I'm surprised no one actually said that, because that's a huge issue. If you let even 1 hit go to the aircraft carrier, the guy can retreat, and you've lost all your airplanes. So I put him here so the airplanes can fight to the death. And sure enough, he did attack. And with that attack, he was able to destroy the fleet. But it left him with a cruiser and a wounded battleship. My French fleet then goes down and destroys his cruiser. That leaves him open for his battleship next turn to be wiped out by a British bomber and a fighter that was off Gibraltar. He was trying some aggressive sub stuff, and I was able to eliminate his subs off of 91. He also has a sub off 106. So he's got some strong sub force. He bought a sub and 2 bombers. So he's trying to keep the Allies out of the Atlantic, and that did not work, as far as I can tell, because of course I drew my pack fleet off of Mexico and built 2 aircraft carriers. So we're talking about a very strong Atlantic move on the Allied part, and that's what I would do if someone did J1, because J1 doesn't affect my strategy that much. If he had taken out my Navy, it wouldn't have affected my strategy. I would have just sent a destroyer to Hawaii, or eventually sent a destroyer to Hawaii to be a blocker. So what else happened? the British built 3 destroyers up here. I think I said that, and I moved all the remnant of the Navy, including a transport, to 109 and have 3 fighters to scramble. I built 3 destroyers. I didn't build any airplane, and I didn't build 6 men. So the island and the Atlantic look good, and we're going to get quick support from the Americans, as the Americans will move second turn to 91 in strength and be challenged by no one. Perhaps 4 bombers could come, but the 4 bombers would not survive. And if they, yeah, I don't think so. So here, let's see, Aussie. The Aussies did some interesting stuff with the Aussies. This isn't the video I wanted to shoot. I wanted to set it all up, but my wife had an emergency gallbladder surgery, and so my vacation has been detoured over to being a caregiver. So I'm squeezing this in. I feel like I always squeeze my videos in. That's my quality is not as good as others, and I'm sorry about that, but that's life when you have 7 kids and a wife and church and a job that takes a lot of time. So I moved all of my forces here to South Australia, become a reactionary force. I moved my transport, grabbed the guy from New Zealand, took him up to New Guinea, and walked him on shore during a non-combat move. Did that so he could take over Dutch New Guinea next turn. I used my plane from Queensland, moved it to Malaya. The Malayan Aussie troop moved into Shan State. There's a British troop here and a Malayan Anzac fighter. I moved my destroyer to 60 so that he could harass. If he tried to send any transports all by themselves, I'd be able to take them out. Moved my cruiser from New Zealand to 56 so that, again, if he sent any transports, they would be harassed. Nibbling the edges. 2 airplanes are off of Western Australia. He can invade any of these areas next turn, but I would have a strong reactionary force. He could take the opportunity to destroy all my Australian fighters and take over West Australia. With his shallow penetration of China, I don't think that's a great idea. And he's still got to conquer the Money Islands. So that's what I would do if I were Japan. I did use a shuck to get more guys out to Hawaii. There's 4 guys there, and maybe 4 airplanes, maybe 2. I'm not sure. But my present situation is that I've got a destroyer here, a transport here, a transport here. So I'm going to keep putting guys into Hawaii. Might have just 2 airplanes there, 4 guys, because I've got several rounds to play with to strengthen that. 2 rounds at least. He built 3 transports. I think I said that. So that looks to me like either a smart resupply of the mainland, which I think is a great idea if you can, if you're not being threatened by the Americans. That's obviously the easy way to go. Obviously, you have to keep an eye out for an American bomber, but he does have a destroyer here to protect and a scramble aircraft. So I think it's the cheaper way to go, obviously, as opposed to building factories. I think that's what he's using them for. If he's not, he's going to swing them all down here to Guangxi and then try a 3rd or 4th turn. I think it'd have to be a 4th turn invasion of Bombay. But at the moment, I think he's mostly concerned about grabbing the Money Islands. So that all looks good. I withdrew my forces, all of my forces, and put them in Sakha, right there, with everything ready to go back toward, back into Amur, or to eventually make their way to the Soviet Far East, depending on my strategy. So that would be my response to a J1. It's to nibble the edges here, if he allows me to. I do have a transport left. I built 2 men and an arty, and I have a nice reactionary force here. The ships and the planes are ready to nibble the edges if he gives me a chance. I'm not doing much with C-Zone 6 or with the Hawaiian Islands, but building them, buffing them up. I've got a ring of troops that are trying to form in Burma eventually, and then push into Yunnan, mostly defensively, to keep the Burma Road open, keep those guys getting into China. The major area of growth and expansion has been Africa, and took Ethiopia, and was able to reduce the Italian force to a busted battleship and a destroyer here in 95, and 2 transports here. So he can still get troops to North Africa, and I'm okay with that. But Africa looks strong, even though Egypt looks weak right now. He did not get the bonus last time, which I wanted to deny him, and I wanted him to attack me at strength, and I defended with strength, and he lost substantial amounts of ships. He did move all his forces in Alexandria, and he's able to assault next time, even at this point in time, it looks like, with 4 troops from the mainland. But I will gather all my troops, I think, and garrison Egypt, and he'll be unable to take it. I'm not concerned about extinguishing the Italian presence from North Africa. I am concerned about controlling the Med. This cruiser was killed. My cruiser was killed. I did make sure that these ships were not able to insert themselves into the Med. I was afraid of that, and so I actually instinctively was thinking of doing Taranto anyways, but I was like, nope, I got to take these subs out so he does not strengthen the Med. I need ownership of the Med. It's 3rd or 4th on my strategic objectives, but it's kind of, in a practical sense, it's number 2. In a practical sense, I have the resources on the board to make it number 2. Strategic objective, save the Atlantic. I'm doing that by bringing the Pac fleet in and building Navy. Building that shuck system, the infrastructure. I built 2 aircraft carriers, I believe, and I'm feeling really good about that. So that is my response to a J1. 3 destroyers built in England, strengthen the... I would, if things were worse off, I would put them in New Brunswick. But they're good right now, I think, and I've got to, and I can scramble, and I can actually kill. If he does attack me here, the great thing is, if he attacks me in 109, I've got the 3 scramble fighters, I get to take down Luftwaffe. Luftwaffe that never make it to the Eastern Front. You're giving Russia more time. So even the loss of a British Navy, if you can make the losses on their side substantial, is worth it. I'm trying to find out what I did buy for the Americans real quick. Yep, I bought 1 destroyer, and in 101 I bought 1 destroyer and 2 aircraft carriers for the Americans' first turn. So this is a response to a J1. The American battleship actually went up here and was able to finish off the German battleship. So that was a great boon to the American, to the Allied cause. So that's my response to a J1. It looks like a G2. This board does not represent what the game I'm currently playing. He's got a lot of infantry on the Eastern Front, so it looks like a G2 to me. He bought 2 bombers and 1 sub. And so he's trying to give himself a little more time in the Atlantic, and the Atlantic is my first strategic objective, even with a J1. All right, guys, that is my thoughts on a J1. Good luck. Give it a try. Ask questions all you want to. Sorry this isn't the video that I wanted to do. I might redo it in the future.